I think shifting gears a little bit, state of AI, and where do you see you've seen the state of AI in the midst of it in SF, in India as well, like shortly when you were building AI apps. Where do you think we're headed, especially when it comes to what's going to happen in employment, and is it scary? How do you feel about this?
Yeah, I think we should not be oblivious to what's going on. What matters is that, so again, as I said before, like the pace of coding AI has been rapidly advancing. I'll come to the technicalities on why, compared to everything else. But I don't see a reason why even the other fields will not see such rapid advancements in white collar work. I think, even the big labs predict this, which is in the next 4 or 5 years, we will have white collar replacements across the board, which is very scary to think about, right? Because a lot of people could lose jobs.
Can you describe like what sort of work though do you feel will get completely replaced?
I think your traditional, digital remote
Data
work.
entry.
Yeah, data entry and then coding to some extent, accounting, legal, medicine to some extent. A lot of like, again, digital entry work, as you mentioned. All of these fields are susceptible. And if I had to spend 2 minutes on why I think this will happen, I have a few friends who work at DeepMind, who work at OpenAI, and I speak to them on a regular basis. The general idea, look, I have a limited understanding. I'm not a machine learning practitioner, but I have gone down rabbit holes on, where this is all going.
Yeah.
And the general idea is that recently this technique called reinforcement learning has been working on large language models, right? So the very basic layman explain like I'm five idea for reinforcement learning is if you have a robot that's in a maze, right? And the objective of the robot is to figure out the pathway of the maze and find where the sugar is placed, right? And the idea is that if it takes a step in the right direction, you reward it. And if it takes a step in the wrong direction, you disreward it or give it a negative reward, right? So then the robot basically learns by taking correct or wrong steps, how it's rewarded. Like it's given a positive reward if it goes closer and closer. And eventually, if it gets to the sugar itself and it obtains it, then that's the perfect reward. And you can assume the score for the reward is between 0 and 1 and gets a score of 1 when it gets that piece of sugar. The general idea is that because large language models have gotten so good now and they're applying like reinforcement learning on top of this to train it in the post-training phase, they have some general understanding of code, the model already, and reasoning, and they can output code pretty decently. So the thing is, they know now how to construct rewards for themselves because there is a verifier. So any field that is verifiable, right? Most white collar fields are verifiable. What I mean by that is for a piece of code, you can write test cases, right? For legal work, you can write a set of contract verifiers, right? For medicine, it's about you look at the parameters and you can say what disease you have. Like if my HbA1c level is above a certain threshold, then this is probably what I have. I have diabetes, right? So the idea is any field which is inherently verifiable, where you can write a lot of test cases, which means that you can figure out what the reward is for that system, right? So how it's trending is that the machine itself will kind of, scramble through a million different ways to solve that problem because it knows it's been given the right reward because it will pass all those test cases. And that's when shit hits the fan in some sense, right? Because it'll get so good to the point where it can solve, almost all sets of problems, which is why the new Claude model also has gotten so good at coding, is that reinforcement learning has started working on like LLMs.